So the piston is the first thing we have to get squared away. The rings on the piston and all the circlip and all that has to go. So brand new piston, brand new rings, and it's a fancy little bag that I am definitely going to keep changing after this because that is freaking awesome.
So you're going to take camping?
Instead of a Crown Royal bag, a YZ250 piston bag. That's pretty badass if you ask me.
The
Hang on.
piston ring.
I gotta get my fancy new gloves out. They're brighter.
Oh,
and they have grip on them.
I like those.
And they're thicker. Oh, man.
Did you?
You mean like this? It hurts. Ah, I'm not man enough. There's a crap inside of here. I gotta get that out of there.
Where's your air? I drilled those.
See them?
And that's what the shavings are. Check the piston ring end gap before assembling the piston ring. Refer to the thing and the thing and the thing.
Okay.
Wash the piston and rings in solvent and then apply soapy water to remove any oil and carbon particles. Dry with compressed air.
I think I had a malfunction with my brain right there. Wash the piston ring.
Wash the piston and rings in solvent, then in soapy water to remove any oil and carbon particles.
Well, these are just out of the bag. No human hand has touched them.
I mean, you can do whatever you want.
These are clean. I'm not going to wash those. The piston needs to be washed. You're right about that. We should wash it in solvent and then soapy water. So, okay, so we're going to wash it with solvent.
Genius.
So this is solvent. This is kerosene.
Oh, that'll work.
And then it's going to be soapy water after that. But kerosene cuts oil and my gloves. So we're just going to scrub it down.
They go through your gloves?
Oh, it does eventually go through rubber. So that I can... Oh, I can barely handle how hot that is. And this aluminum transfers that heat, like, now. Which I guess is good, considering
Cold water.
that's how it gets cooled inside the engine when it's running. Now we got to get some compressed air and blow all this water off because there's lots of little channels and grooves. I think what I might do is just throw this in the toaster oven at like 300 degrees. Right next to the melted butter on the counter. Warm piston. Ready to eat. Now it must cool.
Figure 91.
I want to show you guys the piston, the gap in the piston ring coincides with a pin, an anti-rotational pin, which, gosh, I hope you're going to be able to see. Right there. You can barely see it, but there's a pin right there. Let me try to line this up a little better for you. Yeah, you can see it there. And there's another one. I'm not going to rotate the piston around, but you can see the pin, the other pin, which is right there. So those gaps go in those spots there. Put the ring into the cylinder and measure the gap.
Just because you have a mechanic friend doesn't know that they know what they're doing. They learn by trial and error just like everybody else.
So now the ring's in there, and now the gap, when I flip it around, is at the bottom. You can see it in the sunlight. It's right there. I'm supposed to measure that. How do I measure that? What am I going to use? And what's the measurement?
For a 94 YZ250. New should be 0.55 to 0.70 millimeters.
Let's start with 0.55. Here's a tapered feeler gauge at 0.55. That fits in between, but boy is it tight. 0.60 fits in there, but it's also really tight. That's about it right there, 0.63. 0.65 doesn't really fit. Ring back on piston. Here we go.
Are we installing the piston yet?
Putting the ring back on. Alright, next step.
Then it's piston installation.
Okay, piston installation. Oil on the bearing. Oil in the hole where the bearing lives. And bearing into the hole. I'm going to make every attempt to not scratch the shit out of the side of this piston while doing this. Well, that sort of worked. At least put it in there. Now I can just straighten it out. I need one of these ends to go into its hole, though. There, I got one spot to go into its hole. Now, I know you can't see anything, but I'm basically just pushing that clip into the groove like that. Now you see it in there? So it says to install this part of the way, which makes sense. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm just going to install it to where it hits my thumb right there. So it's not actually going to intrude. And then it says to put this over the top, right? And then it's a line-up job here.
Oh, that worked pretty well.
It's not all the way in yet. It's just a little bit of wiggling here and there. And now we're flush and I can't push it. Oh, yeah, I got it all the way.
There you go. Got it.
Now I just need a flashlight and that 90-degree pick. That's all the way in. That's a piston installed in a motor, is what that is.
Woohoo!
Just... There we go. Being careful not to leave plastic anywhere in the motor. But these two metal rods, and then if I push the piston down, I should be able to seat and hold on to those metal rods with the skirt of the piston. Or they could just slide. It's possible.
I can hold them.
Can you turn the crankshaft? Hopefully I can do it. Yeah, I think they'll be okay just like that. You pull them out. And then I'm just going to rest this for a moment. And I'm going to put this over the top. And I need to do it the right direction.
There you go.
And now I'm going to push this back down to meet you. Like that.
it really good and then put oil all over it.
Yeah.
Just hilarious. Install the cylinder block as follows. Position the cylinder with the exhaust port facing forward. Compress the ring by hand and start the bottom edge of the cylinder block over rings. Then hold the piston and slide the cylinder block down over the crankcase mounting studs and seat it against the piston holding fixture.
Alright, so I have to compress a ring and line it up and start it, and then I have to compress the next ring. Oh, that didn't do it. I don't think I got your side.
I have no idea. Oh no, you didn't.
Oh yeah. Okay, now there's a second ring to be compressed.
There you go.
And
On both sides, I'm assuming.
now it says to rest it on that thing that you've got down there.
Okay.
So
Now do you put it down?
okay. There we go. And I'm resting on that thing you've got. Okay.
Now we're good?
Now the next step. I'm gonna pull the whole thing up together, and then you pull the rods out.
Okay, tell me when.
Go ahead.
Oh, there's oil.
Yep.
Okay.
No, we're not all the way down. We're sitting on top of the. Oh, there are the dowel pins. There we went. So really, what we should be testing. How do we test this right now? Is to turn this. And it said it should be free, like it should be going freely without any marring or issues. The fact that I can turn it by hand with a gear is telling that it's not difficult at all. Honda brand anti-seize. I just want to put a little bit, so I'm just going to do it with my finger. This side, and this side, in the front, and then we'll put a bolt on.
Oh, you don't want it on your clothes, you don't want it on your skin, you don't want it...
That's we talked about these types of warnings. They're the cover your ass warnings. They don't
it's
really...
the state of California causes cancer one. California, everything causes cancer.
Good thing we don't live there and we won't get cancer. Now I gotta go to the opposite corner. And the tricky part about the opposite corner is I can't get a socket on there because they're underneath stuff. So
You need like a wrench.
they make a special tool for this situation. Adjustable torque wrench adapter by Motion Pro. What it allows you to do is put a wrench onto the torque wrench.
But is this where the note comes into play? Because of the cylinder's design?
That's right, but because we are not changing the length of the handle of the torque wrench, much like the torque wrench they have in that picture, it's a 90 degree, and therefore
You have to change
it doesn't
the
change anything.
torque? Gotcha.
Torquing bolts. How does this contraption work? Well, you have to keep it 90 degrees from your torque wrench, and you tighten it this way, it stays 90 degrees, And if you need to move it, tighten some more. Then you got to lift up the wrench and put the wrench back down onto the bolt, or the nut in this case. And then tighten some more. As long as it's 90 degrees, the wrench is 90 degrees from the wrench, it reads true torque. But if you turn this, now I've lengthened the distance of my wrench, and I've changed the torque specification. And I have to get out a calculator or conversion chart to get that figured out. I'm just going to quickly drop this one in here on the far side and start threading it. And this one here. And yes, I'm going to wipe up the extra anti-seize. Even though in reality it doesn't matter that much, because the things that seal these are the rubber gaskets and not a paper gasket. Oh, that one's got a rough spot there. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it through by hand. Oh, there we go. I got it. Now we'll put some pin dowels here. One goes here, and the other one goes here. And I don't know how we're going to seat those all the way, but I think a socket might help. There we go. Yeah, and you can see that it's not straight by the amount of gap on one side or the other. So it helps you kind of line it up. Oh, I started to get it there. There it went.
There you go.
Now that they're all installed into the right depth, I can put these O-rings in. There's two of them. One goes on the inside here, and it lays in just like that. And the other one goes on the outside. This one goes on the outside. Like that. And in its groove. They're a little tight. I kind of don't want to be in their grooves. There we go. And now the cylinder head, which I blocked off. I don't know if you can see this, but I blocked off both the coolant and the spark plug hole so that nothing can fall down into the... Now the cylinder head. Like that. These are copper gasketed washers, so all 6 of them are the same. Brand new Yamaha part number, blah, 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 blah.
Let me see.
I feel like the cylinder head isn't seated all the way. It's like that all the way around. I guess it just gets to squishing. It gets to squishing the O-rings once. That's the pattern, the torque pattern. There you go. Cylinder head hanger brackets. Alright guys, this is going to be the end of this one. For the first time ever, we got more accomplished than we thought we were going to by not only getting the motor into the frame and torquing it all down, but also putting the cylinder head on and torquing down the cylinder and cylinder head and mounting the cylinder head to the hanger bracket back into the frame again. So in the next episode, hopefully I'll have the parts to finish the shift mechanism down here. If not, there's a whole stator side, whole generator. Some people call it a generator, some people call it a stator. On the other side that I have all the parts for here and available, so we'll start on that possibly. Either way, the next episode is going to be more working on the motor inside the frame.